back reviewing The Fall from Over the Moon Games. It's Unity. You can pick it up for $9.99 with Stinkies, and it's based on Tarsim's movie The Fall. A lovely story about pathologically lying stuntman trying to murder himself with morphine, and the sweet illiterate foreign child who saves him from himself. Wait a minute, that's not right. That's not right at all. I thought Pedro was going to kick in with his spiel, but I guess not. Cue the chairquisition.
Gotta keep you on your toes, man.
You go and you freaking write it in the show notes. I expect you to interject. But no.
One chair means no. Two chairs means not sure if one. Three, check it out. Four, oh my God, shut up. And take our monies.
And of course, we have our categories: Oh Doom, Mixed with the Working, Shiny and Sounds, Controls, and Fun. So, then, how did you feel being a suit without a body? Or, how did it work?
It's like I'm trapped inside my own body and I just want to be fabulous. Which, as I've proven many times, I can be fabulous. As Frankenfurter. It's brilliant. How did it work on our 1204 Ubuntu minimum test system of mightiness? Pretty much out of the box. Standard Unity lot, but there's a small issue. How can you manage not to capture gerbil input on multi-monitor displays in 2014? But I'll get into that. I think everyone might get into that business a bit later. So I had to ding it a chair for that. So we're going to give it to three chairs for Mixed with the Working. What type of system of nightmare fuel are you bringing to this party, J-Man?
Well, I got my A10 5800K running the AMD or the Mesa open source drivers, and I got my machine here, an AMD 1090T and a NVIDIA 670 superclock, both running Fedora 2064-bit. And I had to ding it one chair because the first time I started it up on my Steam box, nothing, nada, zippo. I thought maybe this is gonna be part of the intro. 5 minutes later, I decided, no, that shit needs to get killed because it wouldn't even close. And I gotta ding it another chair because despite its much lauded audio with its full voice acting and whatnot, audio didn't work on my end at all. So I'm gonna give that 2 chairs.
And for me, on the calculator running Aurora 2032-bit with an ATI 5650 HD, it ran mostly out of the box. I didn't really have any problems actually running the game, except for the fact that Ven already mentioned it did not capture the cursor. So every now and again, the cursor would show up on the other monitor, and I'm like, no, it's 2014, man. 3 chairs.
All right, so that's a rocky start. That's 2 chairs for Mixed with the Working. I can't speak English. Apparently, Pedro's Portugueseness is transferring onto me over the internet. Shiny and Sounds, Ven.
Shiny and Sounds. Let's take a look at some of the shinies. Maybe not so much with the sounds. I mean, it looks like a bit of all right. You know, this might not be what you want to take to your mom and say, I want to get married to it. But for an indie game, it passes the score. The graphics and voice work are really above average for your standard indie joint. I was not expecting so much. It's a bit dark. And when I mean dark, I don't mean like,
hey, who turned out the lights?
Right. Who turned out the lights? That's what we mean. So, for shiny and sounds, it's not going to blow you away or anything like that. It's average. It's a bit meh. So it means it's a bit 2 chairs.
You know, textures are expensive. That's why you have to darken everything up so that you can't fucking see what the hell's going on. They have that stupid slider at the beginning of the game, make it so that the letters are barely visible. They're barely visible on like the first notch. And then I started the game and I couldn't fucking see anything. So I kicked it up, and I kicked it up to about halfway, and it's still pretty hard to see. Like I said before, no audio, so there's much lauded voice work Not getting any of it. The atmosphere, though, at least from a purely visual standpoint, I kind of get where they were going with that. It seems all dark. It seems dingy. There's that dude who's crucified. That's all good. I could give it 2 chairs for attempting something, but again, I didn't get the full picture, mainly because it didn't work. So, 2 chairs.
Yeah. So I'm with Ven on this one. Very competent voice acting for an indie game that's rare. Uh, using the pitch dark environment as both a style choice and a way to hide the shortcomings of the Unity engine was actually a good thing in my opinion. And it is basically, hey, who turned out the lights? The video game. The one bit of criticism I have is the character's gun. It has a flashlight, and it doesn't illuminate a goddamn thing. For a futuristic AI-controlled power armor / spacesuit thingy,
That needs a flashlight?
yeah, the flashlight needs to be a bit better. Just saying. So for
your
me,
standard run-of-the-mill keychain flashlight, which will outperform that and illuminate an entire
yeah,
room.
miles
Yeah.
better. So for me, 3 chairs. It's really the only bit of criticism I have.
It's the best you can do.
All right. So that's 2 chairs for shiny and sounds. And now, and now the control section. Now, Ven, I know you had no issues whatsoever with controlling this game. Period.
Period.
Story.
Not capturing the gerbil input makes it hella difficult to play with your gerbil and keyboard combination. And I wouldn't make such a big deal about that, minus the X-Clone mappings being busted. You would not want to...
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, I'm trying to play this, and I was like, this is a drinking game. This layout, I mean, I felt myself like twisting my hand around trying to do this button. It's completely unplayable. This is what you do to have fun and take shots. No other reason. And for an advanced AI, it kind of moves like ass, man. I mean, yeah, so maybe we do a little bit of the drugs here, but whoever developed that momentum physics thing, if you try to move left, right, jumping up and down real quick, that's busted.
Well, you have to assume that there's a dead or semi-dead
There's
guy
a body in
inside
there, right? And that I fear that somebody came and was like, that'll excuse this rubbish. Let's put a body in it. So for the controls,
you know, hydrofluoric acid is expensive.
right?
Yep.
And flying spaghetti monster help you when the combat starts, because that's what I flipped the table, noped out, and just went, you know what? 1 chair. That's what I did. True story.
Oh, so after reading Ven's comment about like the controller mappings being complete shite, I said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna play this entire game using nothing but the controller," because I hate myself.
As is tradition.
So just to give you an idea of what the controls are like, I'm holding up my Xbox controller here. The right bumper button is your interact button.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to select something, you need to use this analog stick to point at it. So when you're trying to, when you're trying to point at something and hit the bumper button, it's super awkward. And then you have to go through. Better yet, you have to go through a context menu using the left analog stick. So and this is everything you deal with. You have to hover over something, click on it, select the right context item, and then get on with your life. It is just absolute, completely wiggity fucking whack.
J-Man, before you give the score, I got to say, holding the controller backwards seems to make more sense.
Actually, yeah, you're fucking right. Gee, why didn't I think of that? God damn it. But yeah, someone was on some bad acid when they set up the control scheme. Also, if you're using a stock Xbox controller, I found that the controls are super twitchy. This guy has extra crap in here for precision, with like extra physical resistance on the buttons and whatnot. So that was the only way I could really play that with the controller. So 1 chair, it barely worked. And yeah, we'll get into combat a bit later.
Yeah. So this is we made our Unity and we didn't know about SDL2 the game because that's really the only option for the controls being this out of whack with reality. Playing with a keyboard and mouse sort of works until the cursor goes outside the window and you start clicking on random things you have strewn about your desktop, which is not a good idea. And of course, the PS2 DualShock controller, the layout is completely and wrong and outright unusable. So the right analog stick, which you need to aim, doesn't work. You aim with the D-pad. You move around with the left analog stick normally. Now try and use the controller like this.
No, you hold it like this. Oh,
One
wait.
chair.
Oh, wait. All right, so that's one chair for controls. This is looking good. Coming up next, fun. Ben, did you have fun?
Well, look at it. I mean, for a 2.5D point-and-click adventure game in space, I kind of get the story and graphics, the voice work, like I said earlier. They're a bit above your average sauce, no doubt about that. Combat, complete rubbish. The second you realize that, flip another table. I mean, take a shot. We're adding that to the show notes. Then some of the bugs, and I shit, that's what I was reading into the forums because it was like, I found this bug because I couldn't actually hide or duck behind this thing at this one time. And the developer wrote back, I disabled jumping until they enter cover, and they're talking about when you first get the gun. And the guy was like, the fuck all did you do that for? I thought there was like a game-breaking bug with it. He was like, well, I did that, quote-unquote, for the feel of that. Fuck you. All right. That really zaps the fun. So much promise. That's why I'm so pissed off about this. It's not because I hate the game. It's I can see what they were aiming for and how far they were from actually doing it, and they said, fuck it, publish it. So for that, I mean, fun. It's not complete shit. You're going to hate yourself for buying it. Let's just go ahead and get that. But I'll give it 2 chairs. That's a bit generous, but that's what it deserves. J-Man?
Oh, combat is just the worst. Because imagine what I tried to describe previously about like selecting items. Now try to shoot someone and duck and cover while dealing with this horrid control layout. It's just and after the first combat, I made it out of it with about half health, and I'm like, this is really, really awkward. I hope this is like a seldom used thing. Nope, 3 more guys on the next screen. I'm like, okay, enough. I'm gonna give this one try. Nope, try again. Enough of this. This game, the shortcomings really overwhelm any positive thing this game might have for me. I mean, the audio didn't work, so I can't hear this good voice acting. The controls are completely fucked, so I can't even play the game correctly. It honestly feels like my time is being wasted. In fact, one anecdote from me playing this game for the review, you need to like grab a pan to collect someone's blood to use as bait. So I found the pan. I found where you need to put the pan full of blood. And I spent a good hour sweeping through all 3 of the levels that you had access to, looking for something you could use as bait until I asked Pedro, and he's like, oh yeah, you have to stick the bowl under the guy's bleeding arm. And I'm like, but I just swept that. Why is... And then I go in, and then I put my flashlight directly over it. And it's like, oh, there it is. Although in every other situation, if you're just in the general vicinity, the context menu will show up. So these sorts of inconsistencies, these sorts of shortcomings make this game super unenjoyable. I would not recommend this. I can only give this 1 chair. This game is a waste of my time. Boo earns.
I really like the atmosphere and the AI's moral dilemma regarding the fact that it has to put the pilot at risk in order to unlock the rest of the firmware that is embedded into the suit, like the ability to go into stealth and the jetpack and the gun and all that. It has to purposefully endanger the pilot, and so at the end of every level, it goes, I purposefully endangered my pilot in order to get this and this. I recommend deactivation as soon as I get to home base. And then there's a second line saying, no, I did what I had to in order to preserve the life of my pilot, and the log is deleted. So I like that. I like that it tickled me in the right way. I would very much like to keep playing the game, and would have given it 4 chairs across the board if only it retained the cursor and the controller actually worked properly. Which, is not the case, so 2 chairs for me.
And that tallies up to 1 chair for fun. And if we tally all this crap up and shove it in the blender, and then eat the contents of the blender, poop it out, form it into the form of a lawn chair, you're only going to have enough material for about 1 lawn chair. So that's what this game gets. Final thoughts, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah. Full disclosure, these guys were kind enough to send us the keys for it. I mean, it's been raining keys over here like giggity.
Hallelujah, it's raining keys.
We were literally at the point it was like, oh, we got to pick something. And unfortunately, a lot of the something was like, we came down to like, what has the least busted?
Yeah.
That's basically where we were at this week. And so we chose the least busted for this. I'll reiterate what they were trying to do. Maybe they'll get to it. Somebody pointed out in their forums that this was supposed to be episodic, but apparently that got nixed at some point. So you're kind of stuck with that. I might revisit this game. Might. Just maybe a month from now to see if some things are fixed, like controller support, STL2, maybe put some of that business in there. And that'll make me a happy boy. Currently, right now, save your money. It's busted. Fun. So much promise. That's what's making me angry. Not this game. The promise it has. J-Man.
The fall? I mean, really, if the game was less busted, I may have been nicer on it. I mean, like Pedro said, there is an interesting moral dynamic where you have to put your pilot in danger to save his life, and that could be an interesting theme to explore over the course of the game. However, the game just doesn't work. Like I might poke Ven in a month to see if the game actually fixed their controller issues.
Like the story's good, but the actual game itself, I mean, the mechanics, just the port is not good.
I would say even the mechanics are a bit flawed. What with the flashlight thing and all,
and constantly rebooting into your EXE to change things.
Oh yeah, you need to load my kernel, and I get presented with Isaac Asimov's 3 Laws of Robotics.
This thing's running DOS.
Yeah. No wonder this thing's busted.
Hey,
it's running DOS. But I wouldn't pick this up. Maybe if they get their shit together, it might be something worth playing. But for now, no. Coming up next,
P-Man's got his thoughts.
Oh,
so
did he not? I thought he did. Whatever.
I'm just gonna leave a caveat emptor for people who are actually looking forward to this game. It's broken. At least on Linux, it's broken. Wait for a little while, which is what I'm going to do. I beat the first 2 levels, and I'm just going to leave it at that until they fix the controllers. As soon as they fix that, I might go in and finish and play the rest of it. But for now, steer clear.